only wish that my sidekick, Jay Silverheels, could be with me tonight. I used to listen to Jay Silverheels' Indian Prayer. Jay often said to me, "How about doing the Lone Ranger Creed for me, Clay?"
He was the face behind the Lone Ranger, the hero who rode silver, wore the black mask, and defined American courage for an entire generation. But beneath that perfect legend lived a man quietly disappearing. Because the mask that made Clayton Moore a superstar was also the mask that erased his true identity. 1 year at a time, fans saw a cowboy icon. Hollywood saw a man trapped behind a role. And Moore himself, he slowly realized the world no longer loved him. Only the myth he could never remove. This is the haunting truth behind the hero America thought it knew. The moment when the Lone Ranger's mask stayed on so long. Clayton Moore vanished beneath it. Clayton Moore was born Jack Carlton Moore on September 14, 1914. He grew up quiet, thoughtful, and observant. The kind of child who stood at the edge of the playground instead of the center. His parents weren't actors, celebrities, or artists. They were ordinary working-class people who offered love but little stability. As a boy, he found comfort not in crowds but in distance. He admired the world from afar, often gravitating towards silent movie heroes, masked figures, and daring performers who said little but expressed everything. The circus fascinated him deeply. He watched acrobats swing from ropes, leap into the void, and land with elegance. He admired how they lived suspended between danger and beauty. That silent, physical poetry spoke to him in a way ordinary life never did. In his late teens, driven by a longing to escape ordinariness, he joined a traveling circus as an acrobat. For the first time, he felt like more than the quiet boy from Chicago. Under the tent lights, he transformed into someone weightless, someone brave, someone extraordinary. That experience shaped him forever. After leaving the circus, he moved to New York City, becoming a John Robert Powers model. The fashion world was glamorous, but the work left him empty. He stood under spotlights, posed in expensive clothes, smiled for photographers, but inside he felt invisible. He wanted action. He wanted movement. He wanted to be more than a handsome face frozen in a photograph. Hollywood called to him. In the late 1930s, Clayton moved to Los Angeles, arriving with determination, a few dollars, and nothing else. He worked as a stuntman, falling off horses, crashing through windows, doing the dangerous work other actors refused. Every bruise became a badge of honor. He was slowly building a reputation for discipline, courage, and professionalism. Around this time, producer Edward Small told him he needed a stronger name. That day, Jack Carlton Moore died, and Clayton Moore was born. He soon found roles in B-Western films and early black and white serials. One of them, The Ghost of Zorro, had him wear a mask foreshadowing his destiny in a way no one yet understood. During World War II, Clayton Moore served in the U.S. Army Air Forces, working in the 1st Motion Picture Unit, creating training films for soldiers. Even in uniform, he remained a performer, part teacher, part actor, part invisible influence on thousands of recruits. After the war, Hollywood was changing fast. Television was emerging as the next great frontier, and radio giants were scrambling to keep up. Among them was producer George W. Trendle, creator of the radio hit The Lone Ranger, which had been a national phenomenon since 1933. Trendle needed someone to bring the character to television, someone audiences could instantly trust, someone who could embody a moral code without irony. When Clayton Moore auditioned in 1949, something remarkable happened. Those in the room later said it wasn't his voice or acting technique that won him the role, it was his sincerity. He believed every word of the Lone Ranger creed. He spoke like he meant it. He stood like he lived it. Trendle chose him immediately. Clayton Moore became the Lone Ranger. On September 15, 1949, the show premiered on ABC, and within weeks, it became one of the biggest national sensations in American television history. Children raced home from school to watch. Mothers approved of its moral clarity. Fathers admired its principles. Merchandising exploded: masks, guns, toys, lunch boxes, comic books. Everywhere you looked, the symbol of the masked rider of justice appeared. And with every episode, Clayton Moore became less of a performer and more of the character he portrayed. He didn't smoke in public. He didn't swear. He avoided behavior that might disappoint a child. He lived exactly as the Lone Ranger would live. But this came with a price. While audiences saw a legend, Hollywood saw a problem. Casting directors began rejecting him for every job except Western heroes. The fame he worked so hard for had transformed into a trap. The more beloved he became as the Lone Ranger, the more invisible he became as Clayton Moore. After the show ended in 1957, he found himself in a painful twilight, famous enough to be recognized everywhere, but not famous enough to be hired for anything meaningful. He had no residuals, no royalties, and no financial safety net. So he embraced the only identity the world allowed him, the Lone Ranger. Through the 1960s and 70s, Clayton Moore drifted across America like a living relic of a forgotten era, traveling from state fairs to dusty rodeo grounds, from parade routes to charity conventions. Everywhere he went, crowds still cheered for the hero who had shaped their childhood. He stayed humble, signing autographs for hours, listening to stories from grown adults who once ran home from school just to watch him on television. Children looked up at him with awe, believing they were standing before the real Lone Ranger, not an aging actor nearing the twilight of his career. Moore leaned into the role with quiet devotion, because deep inside, he knew something painful. The character was no longer just a part of his life. It was the only thing holding his life together. Then came 1979, the year everything collapsed. The Rather Corporation, eager to promote a new Lone Ranger film starring Clinton Spilsbury, viewed Moore as a threat, a living contradiction they feared would overshadow their modern reboot. Instead of honoring the man who had built the legacy, they silenced him. They issued a cease and desist order forbidding Clayton Moore from wearing the mask in public. This wasn't just a legal move. It was an emotional blow that cut him deeper than anyone realized. For years, he had lived for hospital visits, school appearances, charity functions, moments when a child's smile made his sacrifices feel meaningful. Now, the one thing he loved most, the identity he relied on, was being stripped away. In court, Moore didn't ask for money, ownership, or rights. With heartbreaking sincerity, he pleaded only for the right to keep wearing the mask for children who still believed in heroes. But the corporation refused. The judge ruled against him, and with that single verdict, the symbolic center of his life was taken from him forever. At his next public appearance, he stepped onto the stage wearing oversized wraparound sunglasses instead of the black mask. To the crowd, it seemed like a clever, even playful substitute. But privately, those glasses were a shield, hiding humiliation, grief, and the pain of being told he was no longer worthy of the very role he had lived his life to honor. Even as he kept traveling, kept greeting fans, kept pretending everything was fine, the truth seeped through the cracks. Friends later said his smile dimmed when the crowds disappeared. The fire inside him was fading. The identity he had carved out over decades had been legally severed. By the 1990s, in his 80s, Moore finally admitted a terrifying truth. In quiet moments with loved ones, he confessed he no longer knew who Clayton Moore was. The line between man and myth had blurred beyond recognition. He had worn the mask so long, lived the creed so faithfully, and sacrificed so completely that the original man had nearly vanished. His greatest fear, he admitted, wasn't being forgotten. It was failing the children who believed in him. And even in his final years, he worried he had never been heroic enough. Clayton Moore didn't simply lose a role. He lost himself to the legend. On December 28, 1999, Clayton Moore passed away at his home in Los Angeles. The newspapers praised him, fans mourned him, but very few truly understood the depth of his sacrifice. He died with a modest estate, despite creating a character worth hundreds of millions to studios and corporations. He never received the compensation or recognition he deserved. He didn't leave behind wealth. He left behind something far heavier, a legacy built on the complete erasure of his own identity. After his death, friends, relatives, and collectors revealed more heartbreaking details. His home was filled wall to wall with Lone Ranger memorabilia. Almost nothing remained from before 1949. No circus photos, no modeling pictures, no keepsakes from his early Hollywood years. He had erased everything that wasn't the mask. Family members found private journals describing loneliness, depression, and confusion about who he truly was. Even in old age, he answered every letter from every child who believed he was a real hero. He maintained the illusion until his final days. In the end, the legend marched on, while Clayton Moore quietly slipped into history's shadow. The world kept the hero, but forgot the man who sacrificed everything to create him. He didn't just play the Lone Ranger, he surrendered his identity, his dreams, and his entire life to become him. and the mask he wore outlived the man beneath it. If this story moved you, make sure to like, share, and keep his legacy alive. Thanks for watching.